for him. They said, Ya Rasulullah, why did you pray for him? He said, because I loved my uncle Abu Talib. He used to be in the deepest level of the hellfire. So I prayed for him and elevated him to the first level of the hellfire. So we read this hadith and we're wondering, how accurate is this hadith? When we read history, we ask, who is the one that opened his doors to the Islamic community in Sha'b Abu Talib, and he protected them, and he gave them amnesty, and he secured them, and he spent money on them, and he never complained, Ya Muhammad, you're my nephew, I raised you, what is this nonsense? I don't want to deal with this at an old age. But no. He stayed with him. He protected him. He gave his children to protect him until the last moment of his death. So when I look at this hadith, I don't need to spend time exploring this hadith when I have history. The history of Abu Talib in front of me. Similarly, within the Quran, we read, for example, of the Battle of Badr. We read of the Battle of Uhud. And we know, for example, the Battle of Badr took place in the month of Ramadan, in the second year after the Hijrah. There were 313 Muslims facing about 1,000 of the Mushrikeen. But the Quran doesn't tell us who is the one that killed 30 out of the 75 who were killed by the Muslims. So the Muslims, they were able to kill 70 of the Mushrikeen. There was one man who single-handedly killed 35 of them. The Muslimin also took 70 captives, asir. There was one man who single-handedly took 35 captives and he brought them to Rasulullah. The Quran also tells us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enabled the Muslim army with 1,000 angels. So 1,000 angels fought next to the Muslims in Badr. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Rasulullah that you were not the one that shot the arrows, but Allah shot the arrows. Meaning, O Muslims, don't think that with couple of swords and couple of stakes, 313, when you face the best of sword fighters of Quraysh, you were the one that brought victory. Allah is the one that enabled you with this victory. But whole history also tells us that the man that killed the 35 was Ali ibn Abi Talib. The man that took the 35 asir and captives was Ali ibn Abi Talib. History also tells us that the 1,000 angels resembled the face of Ali ibn Abi Talib. So after the battle of Badr, the Mushrikeen named him Al-Mawt Al-Ahmar, the Red Death. And that is why after the battle of Badr, Rasulullah chose to give his flag and his standard only to Ali ibn Abi Talib. Every time they saw him in a battlefield, every time they saw him carrying the flag and the standard, they were shaken by the bravery of Ali ibn Abi Talib. This only comes when we observe the history of every ayah. So when I look at a chapter that was revealed in the second year after the Hijrah, a chapter that was revealed in the third year after the Hijrah, a chapter that was revealed in the ninth year after the Hijrah, I must go and study every occasion that happened in the second year, in the third year, in the ninth year, in the 10th year. When I read history and then I read the verses, I can better than assume the tafsir of the Quran. The fourth methodology of tafsir is tafsir al-Quran bil-ma'thuri wal-mantuq. To use the explicit and the implicit verses. What do I mean? Some verses in the Quran explicitly state their messages. For example, one verse explicitly says you cannot say uff to your parents. You have to show them kindness. You have to be merciful with them. This is explicitly mentioned. But what is being implied? What is being implied is that you cannot disrespect them in any shape or form. You cannot yell at them. You cannot beat them. You cannot see them starving. You cannot see them in difficulty. You must make sure that you are in constant state of kindness to them. That's what's being implied by the chapter, by the ayah. Now, if we look at the chapters of the Quran, the titles of the chapters of the Quran, and some verses of the Quran, we find that the birth of Islam in the Arabian Peninsula meant to create a revolution that perfects the moral and ethical standards of human beings, that was supposed to change the life of humanity, that was supposed to change the course of history. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Hud says to him, Ya Muhammad, make sure you remain steadfast. Make sure you remain strong. And do not be like Sahib al-Hut. Who's Sahib al-Hut? The Noon, when he left his nation. Do not be like the Noon where he left his nation, but make sure that you remain like Ibrahim. You remain like Ulul Azm prophets that remain steadfast and strong and patient with their nations until the last moment. Now this is an explicit ayah, but what is being implied? What's being implied is that every Muslim leader must endure patience. Every Muslim leader must understand that his community will struggle. There are people within his community that will give him trouble. There is sometimes going to be some disunity. There is sometimes some people, even though he has dedicated his life, even though he has dedicated his time, even though he's dedicated his knowledge and everything he has for the community, that will say certain things that will discourage him. What is being implied by the ayah is that every Muslim leader that takes the path of Rasulullah must endure patience. Because we're not serving people. We are serving their Creator. We're serving Allah. And that's what brings ease to every person serving the religion of Islam. When we know and we are aware that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a witness. When Imam Hussein lost his children and he lost his brothers, when Imam Abu Abdullah lost his infant, what would he say? قد هون ما نزل بي بأنه في عين الله. It brings ease to me knowing that Allah is watching and Allah has a witness. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals an ayah that says, Ya ayyuhan nas, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qaba'ila lita'arafu inna akramakum inda Allah atqakum. We've created you from man and woman, male and female, and we put you in different tribes and ethnicities. Now, the most noble of you, the ones with more honor, are the ones with more piety, righteousness, morality, ethics. This is explicitly mentioned in the ayah. What is being implied? What's being implied, brothers and sisters, is that we should not divide ourselves based on color. We should not divide ourselves based on language. We should not divide ourselves based on the class in which we live in. The greatest and most honorable amongst us should be the ones with more taqwa and piety. This is what's being implied by the chapter, right? That all human beings are equal. They are created equal. And we will all be judged equally in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But who is implementing equality and justice today? When you see millions of refugees They're Muslim refugees, losing their children. They don't have food. They don't have shelter. They don't have security. And they say, which Muslim country, which Muslim nation is meant to help us? Isn't a single Muslim country, a single Arab country. The Quran similarly came and created a different revolution. So what was being explicitly said is that there is a whole chapter within the Quran, the second lengthiest chapter of the Quran, dedicated to women and the affairs of women. Meaning what? Meaning those women who were no longer, for example, who were second-class citizens, they were not respected in their families, they were not respected in society, their voices were not heard, are now recognized. Not just recognized, but there is an entire chapter in the Quran dedicated to them that discusses their affairs. Not only that, but Allah dedicates an entire chapter to Maryam, honoring a woman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explicitly in another ayah says, ضَرَبَ اللَّهُ مَثَلًا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Allah gives an example for all believers. امرأة فرعون, the wife of Fir'aun. إِذْ قَالَتْ رَبِّ ابْنِ لِي عِنْدَكَ بَيْتًا فِي الْجَنَّةِ وَنَجِّنِي مِنْ فِرْعَوْنَ وَعَمَلِهِ وَنَجِّنِي مِنَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. So explicitly Allah dedicates an entire chapter to women. Dedicates a chapter after the infallible Mary, who happened to be a woman. Allah gives the example of wife of Fir'aun as a leading example for all believers, and she happened to be a woman. What is being implied? That the Muslim communities, generation after generation, should create such revolutions within their societies, should be the pioneers to adapt the principles of equality, justice, regardless of gender, regardless of race, regardless of color, regardless of nationality. This is what's being implied by the Quran. This is the spirit of the Quran which is being implied through explicit ayat of the Quran. And today we may read the Quran. We read the Quran. We take that which is explicitly mentioned in the Quran, but we rarely think of what is being implied. What it is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from me. Last but not least is the methodology of tafsir al-Quran using human intellect, or the process of ijtihad, aql. And I tell you, sometimes you read books of history and you wonder, when this guy was writing this book of history, was he using his aql, or did he forget his aql at home? Really? For example, you come to the tafsir of Surah Al-Jinn. One of the imams, major imams of the Muslims, doing tafsir Surah Al-Jinn, says, and we have seen and witnessed occasions where some women have conceived pregnancy from jinn. So if a woman comes and you say, where did you get this child from? Jinn. Wow. Another one, when it comes to verses of pregnancy and breastfeeding, says, according to Islam, well, according to him, the lengthiest pregnancy can take up to 10 years. What? 10 years? So her husband died 10 years ago. She's delivering a baby now. How did that happen? Well, it takes 10 years for some people. What happened to the aql there? They say Abu Hanifa one day was sitting teaching a class. And he said, I am in disagreement with Ja'far ibn Muhammad in several areas. One is that Ja'far ibn Muhammad believes in free will and I believe in predetermination. He believes in free will and I believe in jabr or predetermination. And also, he makes up his own theory. He says Allah on the Day of Judgment, He cannot punish shaitan. Why? Because He created shaitan from fire. And He's going to end up throwing shaitan into fire. So how is that a punishment? Buhlul, he was there. So he came out. He was holding a brick. As soon as Abu Hanifa came, he smacked him with a brick. He started bleeding. They took him to court. The judge says, Abu Hanifa, Buhlul, did you hit Abu Hanifa? He says, no, Allah did. I didn't hit him. What do you mean Allah did? He says, well, I'm predetermined. According to Abu Hanifa, Allah forced me to hit him. It wasn't my choice. Besides, Abu Hanifa says Allah created shaitan with fire. How is He going to punish him with fire? Abu Hanifa, aren't you made of clay? I only hit you with clay. I didn't think it was going to hurt you. But on the other hand, you find the Imams of Ahlul Bayt constantly speaking to the minds of people, constantly allowing them to unleash the abilities of their minds. And brothers, let me tell you one thing, and with this I'll conclude this evening. Don't ever stop people from questioning. If I don't have an answer available, that person still has the right to ask. It is my duty to go and find an answer. That is why today you find everything being imported from the West to Muslim countries. The microwave comes from the West. The TV comes from the West. The cars come from the West. The technology comes from the West. The medical equipment comes from the West. Medicine comes from the West. Now they want to seek education. They export their children into Western universities. One of the reasons, brothers and sisters, is because here in the West, they don't limit your mind. They allow you to ask. They allow you to exercise this mind that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gifted us with. That is why His mind does not have limits when it comes to business, when it comes to science, when it comes to biology, when it comes to medicine. And they're the ones that will end up with the theories. They're the ones that will end up with the most modern technology. But for us, it's because religion plays an extremely important role in our lives. And sometimes when people ask and inquire, they're told, you can't ask about this. This is where you stop. You can't inquire any further. And that's how our minds become limited. And we're suffering from that today. Our Imams, they taught us that we have to first work on ourselves, seek knowledge, be educated, empower ourselves with ilm. Then we would be able to enlighten the minds of all human beings. You know, interestingly, Imam al-Sadiq, would find young men, young women, like many of the young men sitting in front of me. And he would turn them into Hisham ibn al-Hakam, Zurara ibn A'yun, Al-Mufaddal bin Umair. Today, if we have a Hisham ibn al-Hakam and Mufaddal and Zurara, our community won't be suffering the way it is today, because they'll be equipped with ilm and knowledge. Imam al-Sadiq allowed them to exercise their minds, to ask, to question. To a point where someone comes to Imam al-Sadiq. Imagine if anybody asked you this question. He says, isn't Allah all powerful? He says, yes. He says, can Allah put the whole world into an egg? Can Allah put the whole world into an egg? Imam al-Sadiq says, how small are your eyes? How small are your eyes? He says, well, they're pretty tiny. He says, how much can you see with those eyes? Allah created those eyes. Imam al-Sadiq doesn't tell you, you're crazy. What type of question is this? But he allows that man to think. Gets him closer to Allah. The guy is trying to run away from Allah. He's an atheist. He's questioning Allah. Imam al-Sadiq with one sentence brings him back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the training of Ahlul Bayt. And that is why Imam Zainul Abidin, when he entered the chamber of Yazid, he chose to speak and not to remain silent. So he says, Ya Yazid, allow me to speak. They said to him, Ya Yazid, he's ill. He's just seen this tragedy. What can he do? He says, you don't know them. إنهم من آل بيت زق العلم زقا. They are from an Ahl al-Bayt that have knowledge. Knowledge is embedded with them. They're inseparable from knowledge. كبيرهم لا يقاس. Their elders cannot be compared to any human beings. وصغيرهم, they're youngsters. جمرة لا تداس. They're like a fire. You can't step on fire. This was the responsibility of Imam Zainul Abidin now, to illuminate the minds of people, not to remain silent, but to continue the message of his father with ilm. So he insists, يا يزيد ائذن لي لكي أصعد على هؤلاء الأعواد لكي أتكلم للناس كلاما لله فيه رضا ولهؤلاء الجلساء أجرا وثواب. Yazid, give me permission so I can take on those woods. He doesn't call it mimbar, because a mimbar is blessed. Allow me to take on those woods so I would speak of that which pleases Allah and increases in the knowledge of those listening to me. Until he took on the mimbar. Now imagine Zainul Abidin, salawatullahi alayhi, in the chambers of Yazid. He began, Bismillah wa billahi walhamdulillahi wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. أيها الناس أوتينا ستا وفضلنا بسبع. أوتينا العلم والحلم والسماحة والفصاحة والشجاعة والمحبة في قلوب المؤمنين. وفضلنا بأن منا النبي المختار ومنا الكرار ومنا أسد الله وأسد رسوله ومنا الطيار ومنا سيدة نساء العالمين ومنا سيدي شباب أهل الجنة ومنا مهديها. أيها الناس من عرفني فقد عرفني ومن لم يعرفني أعرفه بحسبي ونسبي. O people, we have been given 6 and we have been superiorized with 7. We have been given knowledge, forbearance, wisdom, eloquence, bravery, and love in the heart of the believers. And we have been superiorized from us is the Prophet and the last messenger, and from us is Karrar, and from us is the Lion of Allah and Rasulullah, and from us is the greatest mistress of all time, and from us are the masters of youth of paradise, and from us is the Mahdi of this ummah. For those of you who have known me, then you've recognized me. For those who do not yet know me, I shall introduce myself to you further. أنا ابن مكة ومنى أنا ابن زمزم والصفا، أنا ابن من حمل على البراق إلى سدرة المنتهى، أنا ابن من صلى بملائكة السماء مثنى مثنى، أنا ابن من دنا فتدلى فكان قاب قوسين أو أدنى. I am the son of the man who elevated on the back of the Buraq to the seventh heaven. I am the son of the man who led the congregational prayers with the heavenly angels and the prophets. I am the son of the man who seek nearness to his Lord until he became قاب قوسين أو أدنى. That is my grandfather Muhammad. أيها الناس، أنا ابن من بايع البيعتين وهاجر الهجرتين وقاتل بين يدي رسول الله ولم يشرك بالله طرفة عين. أنا ابن يعسوب المؤمنين وتاج البكائين، أسد الله وأسد رسوله، أبو السبطين ووارث المشعرين، ذاك جدي علي بن أبي طالب. I am the son of the man who fought with 2 swords and 2 spears. I am the son of the man who went on both migrations. I am the son of the man who inherited Al-Mash'arain. I am the son of the man who inherited the knowledge and the wisdom of Rasulullah. I am the son of the first believer in Islam. I am the son of the bravest of Arab, the master of men. I am the son of the father of the Sibtain. That is my grandfather Ali ibn Abi Talib. أيها الناس، أنا ابن سيدة النساء، أنا ابن نقيات الجيوب، أنا ابن عديمات العيوب، أنا ابن خير النساء، أنا ابن خديجة الكبرى، أنا ابن فاطمة الزهراء. Oh people, I am the son of the infallible woman. I am the son of the greatest woman. I am the son of the protected females. I am the son of Khadijah al-Kubra. I am the son of Fatima al-Zahra. Allahu Akbar. Then what does he say? أيها الناس، أنا ابن من حرمه من العراق إلى الشام تسبى، أنا ابن من رأسه فوق الرمح، أنا ابن من بكت عليه ملائكة السماء والطير في الهواء، أنا ابن المذبوح عطشانا حتى مضى، أنا ابن المذبوح من القفا، أنا ابن من بكت عليه ملائكة السماء والطير في الهواء. I am the son of the man who his haram, his women, are taken as captives from Iraq to Damascus. I am the son of the man who his head was carried on top of the spears from Iraq to Damascus. I am the son of the man who was killed thirsty next to the Euphrates. And then he says what? I am the son who was slaughtered. I am the son of the man who was slaughtered from the back. Why? Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Shimr, when he sat on his chest and he tried to amputate his head, they told him, Shimr, Rasulullah has kissed the neck of Hussein. That knife won't cut the neck of Hussein. Assalamu ala al-madhbuh min al-ghafa. He turned our Mawla Aba Abdullah. Allahu Akbar. He kept introducing his father and forefathers until Yazid, it was not the time of adhan. He says, Ya mu'adhin wayhak. Mu'adhin, say the adhan. The mu'adhin says, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Zainul Abidin says, La akbar min Allahi shay. The muadhin says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Zainul Abidin says, a witness is my skin, my intellect, my heart, and every one of my limbs, that there is no God but Allah. The muadhin says, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Zainul Abidin took off his amama. He says, Ya Yazid, ahada Muhammad jadduka am jaddi? Is this Muhammad your grandfather or my grandfather? If you say he is your grandfather, you have lied. And if you say he is mine, then why did you kill my father Hussein? ظلما وعطشانا بكربلاء. Why are you taking his women as captives? سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. We are the visitors of Zain al-Abidin this evening because he has no visitors in Baqi. We go to him this evening and we say, Ya Sayyidana wa Maulana, إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله. يا وجيها عند الله. يا وجيها عند الله. Oh Allah, we ask you in the name of Marid Karbala Zainul Abidin, every man and woman with an illness in this majlis, give them cure. Every man and woman with a haja, with a need, give them their hajat. Oh Allah, we ask you in the name of Zain al-Abidin, those who have illness, those children with an illness. Oh Allah, we ask you in the name of Zain al-Abidin, the honor of Zain al-Abidin, give them all from your cure. إلهي اللهم أدخل على أهل قبور السرور. اللهم شافي وعافي كل مريض. اللهم سد فقرنا بغناك، غير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك. اللهم أقض عنا الدين وأجرنا من الفقر، إنك على كل شيء قدير. وعجل ثم عجل لمولانا الفرج. اللهم ارزقنا زيارة الحسين. اللهم ارزقنا شفاعة الحسين. لا تفرق بيننا وبين الحسين وخدمة الحسين طرفة عين أبدا. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والعلماء والشهداء وخدمة الحسين نهدي جميعا ثواب سورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الصلوات. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله ماتم حسين.
या हुसैन, या हुसैन, कोई पढ़ेगा अंग्रेजी में, या हुसैन, 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 या हुसैन,
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Let's raise the flag of Imam 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 Hussein. Until the existence of time, until the existence of time, until the sun ceases to shine, until the sun ceases to shine. With all our young, old, and our prime, we will speak out against this crime until everyone knows Hussein. Let's raise the flag of Imam 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 Hussein. We will keep on marching ahead. We will keep on marching ahead. This matam will never be dead. This matam will never be dead. We will proclaim this to the world. This miracle will never end. This morning of Imam Hussein. Let's raise the flag 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 of Imam Hussein. When men will remember Hussein, when men humanity will be in shame. Humanity will be in shame. This is the voice of our Hussein, and anyone who is in pain this morning will always remain. Let's raise the flag of Imam Hussein. 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 The world will come to know Hussein. The world will come to know Hussein. On every heart will be his name. On every heart will be his name. He is the one who bore the pain, seeing his family being slain. They will be crying out, Hussein. Let's raise the flag of Imam 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 Hussein. When crime will be throughout the land, when crime will be throughout the land, the world will come out hand in hand. The world will come out hand in hand. From every house and every land, people will come and make a stand. At that time everyone will say, let's raise the flag of Imam Hussein. 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 Hussein is the name of Islam. Hussein is the name of Islam. Hussein is the living Quran. Hussein is the height of Iman, who showed what truth is to the man. The world is grateful to Hussein. Let's raise the flag of Imam 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 Hussein. Until the very end of time. Until the sun ceases to shine. With all our young, old, and our prime, we will speak out against this crime until everyone knows Hussein. Let's raise the flag of Imam 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 Hussein. Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein.
ہو سلام اس پر کہ جو قیدی بھی ہے بیمار بھی. ہو سلام اس پر کہ جو قیدی بھی ہے بیمار بھی. پاؤں میں ہیں آبلے اور آبلوں میں خار بھی. حوصلہ اس پر کہ جو قیدی بھی ہے بھی. حوصلہ قیدی بھی ہے. آنکھ میں آنسو اور زخم جگر میں, ہونٹوں پہ ندا کا نوحہ کرب و بلا سے ہے شام تلک وہ کانٹوں پہ سفر کرتا تھا بیردا. سیدانیاں اس پر ستا بازار بھی. حوصلہ اس پر کہ جو قیدی بھی ہے بیمار بھی. حوصلہ اس پر کہ جو قیدی ہے بیمار بھی. نو کس نا پر ہے باپ کا سر ہے, اس بات پہ دل بے قابو بے چادر